Hey, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna react to Kirk calls out feminists who only wants equality when it benefits her. God, that's a long title. Here we go. You know, Charlie Kirk is definitely an interesting guy. I really like some of the stuff he talks about. Some of the stuff I don't know. He's just in both ends of it, but it don't matter. My bad. I started this out with a yawn, y'all. I had to walk a minute, but hold on, let me see. Is it Alright, I'm gonna hop right into it. Let's get it, let's go.
So then, for those of you that said you were feminists, do you see any inconsistency between saying that you want equality, but you're cool with sending men to run into machine guns to protect your society? Does anyone wrestle with that?
How do you reconcile that? Yeah.
I didn't say I was a feminist.
No, I know, but some did. No, but what I'm getting at, though, is that it's easy, and I know that you have all been so polite, but let's just dive right into it. It's easy at times to bash the patriarchy. Taylor Swift just today was one of her songs, F the patriarchy, and everyone in the concert screams that, right?
Can we Google that, Nick? Yeah.
Well, it's a lyric of one of her songs. It's some like name tag that was dropped, but she says it like a rallying cry, like F the patriarchy. When it comes down to it, it's like you're cool throwing men to the front lines of war, but not yourself.
It's interesting enough to think that women wouldn't have to throw men to the front lines of war if men didn't create wars. Women don't start wars, men do. Let's keep going.
Why do you think the third wave has happened? Do you think it's revenge? Do you think it's a mind virus?
Well, I think it's...
What do you think?
It's a great question. I think that it is a idea toxin where we have really denigrated having children and staying at home for a lot of women. And some women that's the right path. For some women it's not the right path. But for a lot of women it is the right path. And there needs to be an ideological reason as to why you don't get married and you don't have kids for the vast majority of the population. And they developed feminism where they said that for young women, becoming a CEO of a shoe company is as fulfilling as having children. And for some people that is true. But for a lot of people that's just not true. And you look at the way Gloria Steinem wrote the feminist mystique. It was, I feel as if I'm in an open air prison being a stay-at-home mom, barefoot and pregnant basically, being in the kitchen. And it started this whole push, which is where we are the same as men. And that's the problem with third wave feminism, is that it ties with the trans movement, is they don't believe there's any sort of biological differences between men and women, which we all agree is insane, right? That men and women are made completely differently. And yeah,
I wish somebody like that didn't just read halfway into feminism, actually did some research on feminism. There's different feminists, and feminists have their own perspective and views on feminism. So you can find an extensive amount of ways that people believe in it. Third wave feminism is not just only believing in transgenderism. There's an element of feminism that doesn't believe in transgenderism at all. It's just all about women being able to have the same equal footing in society that men have, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with any of that in the waves of feminist. And I think the argument that most people like Charlie Kirk has is with the girls who have purple hair, or the guys who just shout, well, F the patriarchy, or my P word bites back, and those kind of things like that, and don't necessarily have truly any understanding of what truly understanding of feminism and what it really was. It was just about the social, economic, political advancement of both the sexes. A true feminist would believe in equality for men too. So if any of those women at the table don't believe that men shouldn't be unalived at war, then they're not truly feminist.
I think it's an intellectual and ideological cancer that needs to be crushed. And I think deep down most people don't even believe it. And the draft argument actually, I think, really draws that out, where when it comes down to it, most American women are okay sending men to war, which you should be, by the way.
Do you young ladies, if you feel like you say, I'd like to marry and be a stay-at-home mom and not work, if any of you would say that, I don't know, do you feel like other people would shame you? That it's you get more social clout by saying something else?
I think it's praised right now to be a stay-at-home mom.
Okay,
At least from my social circles.
interesting.
Like everybody.
Before we
That's a new phenomenon. But yeah.
before we do move on, I'm not going to
I can
allow.
speak on that,
Hold
so.
on. I'm not going to allow you guys to weasel your way out of Charlie's question here. So just show of hands. Who of you guys said you were feminists? I believe you, and then you. Oh, come on! Don't reel it back here. So both of you said you're feminists, but you also said you're not in favor of women being subject to military conscription. It occurs to me that feminism, in the most, I guess, generous definition I could give it, is a movement towards equality. That's not honestly the definition I would give it, but to be charitable, I'll give it that. So how do you...
donated $300. Kirk, I'm a fan, but stop that corporate nice Christian boy facade.
Being too nice.
America is on its last leg, being overrun by illegals and degenerates.
Oh, wow, okay.
A time for being nice and a time for war. Now is time for war.
Burger King guy.
This is Burger King. It's Mike Davis. All right.
I just wish that somebody would make the argument back for the women that maybe nobody wants to draft at all. Maybe women don't need to be drafted, and maybe men don't need to be drafted. Maybe people should be able to have the choice on whether or not they want to go to war or go into the military. And I think more feminists that actually understand feminism would argue that point and agree with that point.
All right, Mike Davis. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
That's why men should be in war.
Yeah.
A woman would never say that.
Because they...
It's time for war. I've never uttered that phrase in my life.
No, that's a very smart point, actually.
And so, back to my question, those of you who consider yourself feminist, how do you reconcile being a feminist, being for equality, but also not being in favor of women being subject to forced military conscription the same way that men are? Go ahead.
Because feminism isn't just feminism, as in if you're a feminist, you have to agree with every single thought and every single idea that every feminist pushes forward, like the draft, for example.
Well, it's not
So
clear to me if that's a feminist, like specifically a feminist position.
Well, then if I'm not a feminist under your eyes, then that's fine. I just...
Would you acknowledge, though, that would be a pure equality between men and women?
Yeah. If everyone
So you're not in
got
favor of
drafted, that would
equality
be... Yeah.
when it doesn't stand to benefit women?
Yeah, but again, I never pushed for 100% equality within feminism. Not
So
every
you only
feminist
want the
believes
equality that benefits women?
No, I want the equality that benefits humanity.
Okay, so can I
Like, as a
interrupt?
society.
No, okay, so if that is, are you guys then okay when you find out that women might earn less in the workforce than men?
Yeah, if it falls under that
Okay,
same
you're
benefits
consistent,
humanity and society, then yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I
I
think
think most women would think the way she thinks. I think it's just the radicalized women that are like somewhat hurt in a way that are the ones that are the confrontational ones when it comes to this topic.
women should be, if the women are doing the same exact job and producing the same exact amount, quantity, and quality of work, I think they should be paid the same.
Yeah.
But generally, that's not the case.
No, you're right. Yeah, the law, you can't discriminate based on sex, but usually there's a lot of other factors such as where you went to school, what you studied. So yeah, I'm just trying to flush out the consistency or lack thereof here.
Yeah, I don't ever think it's men versus women. It's like masculine complements the feminine. So I think the new wave feminism, if they're talking about, hey, women are better than men, that's like the dumbest thing that you can ever say. I think women complement men, which goes back to your, draft concept.
Well, I'd like to ask you another question here. Do you think women should be barred from volunteering for the military?
No.
You notice the military is really their only example. Like, they can say laying bricks, but women can do that. They can say doing tires and trucks and things like that. Women can do that. All the things that we can technically do in society, because most of society is about competence. There's only so much physical strength that needs to be added into society. Most of it is competence. And competence is something that women can assert. Women can assert competence. And as a matter of fact, in some places, women make better leaders, better politicians, better lawyers, There's plenty of areas in society that women can flex their authority, but it's just funny how we're only talking about the military. And there are points in the military a woman can be. The front lines might be bad, but definitely a woman could be in the Navy. She definitely could man the ships. She could man the ships. That's interesting enough. But she could fly a plane, definitely. She could be on the front lines. If that's what she so chose to do, like, I mean, she could be in special forces if that's what she so chose to do. I don't understand. But, you know, the military is probably the only area that they can name. Literally, in any comment section, probably the only area y'all can name where you can argue with this.
Well, that's interesting. They shouldn't be barred from volunteering, but they should be barred from being forced into conscription despite men being forced into potential.
Men are no longer forced into the draft. It's gone because it was a terrible precedent to have in society. Women won't be forced into the draft either.
Conscription, I'm a little confused there.
What's confusing about that?
Well, why would you, if you're fine with women volunteering, why would you object to women being forced?
I feel like we made so many points on why women shouldn't be in war. Do I have to go over them again? I can.
Did you make points? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I did actually. Like, for example, a woman being sent out to war. Well, actually, let's use her example. That was one of the best ones. If we send half women, half men to war, and we lose an incredible amount of population, what would it be of the country and our workforce? Like,
well,
let's assume women are the ones that are able to have one child at a time. Some occasions, 2, 3, you have twins, triplets, whatever. But one man can produce how many kids in a year? One man can repopulate a population so much quicker than a woman can.
Okay, well, let's assume the conflict we get involved in is similar to Vietnam, where it's not like we're drafting like huge swaths of the U.S. population. It's more like, I just Googled it, I think the United States military conscripted 2 million service personnel throughout the course of Vietnam War.
World War II was way more than that.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we lost, 1 million...
Keep in mind that was 50 years ago. Like, we're talking about something that happened 50 years ago. Not that long ago, but it did happen 50 years ago. The reason why I'm not making it seem like that's that big of a deal is because it got removed from society. So we're not... Like, let's say they brought the draft back. Then, okay, well, let women be drafted. What's the big argument here? I don't understand. But that's pretty much the only one they will use, probably.
From a population perspective, I don't think it would be catastrophic.
But again, those 1 million women aren't just 1 million women randomly. They're occupying special type of forces. Like, for example, teachers. How many teachers would we lose because of that?
What do you mean? We would get like 18 to 22-year-olds. They're in the middle of doing OnlyFans or college or something.
Isla Vista would end up being the Marines. So can I ask
Okay.
LeBron Aces donated $300. Get rid of those silly Australian headbands, twins. I have been to Australia and all their women are like them. Replace them with Jojo Leche bags.
Okay.
Charlie Kirk looks like he's battling Metro Man.
Metro Man?
Anyone know what that means?
I have no idea what.
Oh, really? Great.
We're good. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it, I guess.
That was so cute. Therapy has always been such a scary idea to me because I simply did not know where to get started. I didn't know how to find my...
Oh, I see what happened there. Okay. All right. Where were we? We were... I forgot.
Can I just ask a question? So if you are with your boyfriend or husband and there's a home intruder in the house, who would you expect your husband to put himself first into that situation to take care of it?
Absolutely.
Or husband, boyfriend, or male counterpart.
I know my husband and I have had this conversation multiple times. We have multiple guns in the house, and he's told me, he's like, go hide in the bathroom and hide in the closet. He's like, and I'll take care of you. And I know where the guns are, and I know how to use them, just in case he dies for some reason. Or I can, shoot and hopefully scare somebody away.
Right.
I think you were maybe in the middle of making a point. You said, well, that they would be teachers. And so that's why we shouldn't draft them.
Well, you were saying how 1 million women dying doesn't really hurt society, and I was saying that it does because women have a higher amount of in certain roles, for example,
women's jobs are more valuable. Is that
no? I'm saying a lot of women's jobs are already majority women.
Right, but I was arguing your point about you were making this point of, well, if all the women go and die to war, how are we going to repopulate? But I don't think any conflict would reduce the female population to such a degree that it would have some catastrophic if they were drafted frontline, whatever.
But like we're already at.
Actually, it'd probably be good. I'm going to get canceled for this. It'd actually probably be good for the population if women got drafted, because here's what happens actually with the volunteer force of women. If they ever do face a deployment, a lot of these female soldiers just get pregnant to avoid having to be deployed.
Genius.
So it actually,
The fertility rate would go up.
Hold on, Charlie. I think actually conservatives need to get on board with the female draft.
But no, you have to stay pregnant.
Charlie, I need you to commit on the whatever podcast here that you actually are in favor of the female draft, because they get drafted, right? We draft only women, and then they're gonna get pregnant so they can avoid being deployed.
If there is a pregnancy exemption, they still allow certain pregnant women to...
No, if you're pregnant, you can't be deployed.
How about like only third trimester can't get deployed, but first and second?
They have pregnancy jumpsuits where they're not in the Air Force, which is...
I think this could be a great talking point for the Conservative Party. Let's draft the women, and then we'll fix the population problem.
Which we have a huge
population. A lot of women get pregnant. We will have to ban schmishmortion, and just...
And then everyone's going to be raised in a single parent household? That's horrible.
No,
I hate that. I hate
they
that
get married. They get married.
They get married to their husband who's deployed? Also,
hey, why not?
Everything sucks.
We'll figure it out. Anyways,
war is bad across the board.
Yeah.
But wait, so okay, don't draft women because then we can't repopulate. Is that kind of the argument?
Yeah, that was one of them. Yeah.
Okay, what if we only draft like 1 million women?
Okay, so you want to put a marker on we can draft 1 million women and unlimited, and wouldn't that also not be equal under your head?
How about we draft nobody?
Say 1 million women, 1 million men, or 10 million women, 10 million men. That would be equal.
And if they can prove that those 1 million women are competent and would advance the war just as much as those 1 million
Probably
men,
not. But
exactly, that's my point.
Them.
No, but that's my point.
No, but equality, we still draft them.
But wouldn't you want in a war, the people
then
going
why
to
do
war?
we have women for the volunteer force, which you're in favor of?
Because I do believe that the women who are volunteering know that they can provide quite a bit to the war. They're not just like,
Really?
I wish they didn't have just a bunch of bimbos that talk to these men. But like my question would have been, can you give me another example in society where women can't be equal to men in some way, where in the workforce area? Like what area should women not be considered weak for? Can we not go into STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics? Can we not do healthcare? Like what is it that you guys have over us in the workforce that we aren't competent enough to do the same exact way? There are women truck drivers, women mechanics. I've seen women lift up tires and put them on trucks and drill them on. I've seen women lay bricks. I've seen it all, man. I've seen women do construction. I don't understand it. I don't care about the draft part is weird, and definitely it should have never been happening in any century. No one should have been forced to go into military service. People should be able to choose whether or not they want to do military service. But that's all over the world, and that's neither here nor there, because it's a consistency. There are places where men are forced. But if that's the best argument, then boom, all right, whatever. But peace, I'm out.